We all have that one friend, the one who says exactly what's on their mind, no matter what. And that's Shital Mars.
That's right. Every week, my friends and I dive into whatever's on my mind: sports, politics, pop culture, even my own struggles, you name it. If I'm thinking about it, we're talking about it.
Unfiltered, unapologetic, and just a little dangerous. Get ready for the wild ride that is Shital Weapon. You've been warned.
So we made it. Episode 4. I'm Lethal Shital. This is Biggie Trog. If you don't know where those names came from, I'll refer you back to episode 1. This is Shital Weapon. I'm not sure how many people will want to go back to episode 1. It's so far away from episode 4. Like a
I'm not even
lifetime
sure I
ago.
can do that math.
It's so hard to start from the beginning right now. But if you want to, go ahead and hit pause. Start from the beginning. It's a good time. Except when it's not a good time, because it stops being a good time, but then it gets to being a good time again. So here we are. I am 4 episodes in, trying to figure out what this show is. I still don't know. The plan was to do these 4 as kind of a base, helping anybody who's listening figure out who I am, what I'm about. And I'm not sure I did that. We're going to see if we get to it. We're going to see if number 4 gets the job done.
I have low hopes. I think that this is going to be an ongoing process.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for us, our listener, because adding an S, making it listeners, feels a little audacious at this point. Our listener already knows us.
Even expecting that, we have one consistent listener, it might be
That's a little braggadocious. This is
a
presumptuous, yes?
little high, little high on the estimates.
Yes, I'll agree with that. The consistency will probably be lacking. But here we are. We're going to do it anyway. Because at the end of the day, I'm just going to talk to my brother, and you can listen or you can not listen, and I don't care. To set the stage, I told you guys last time that this episode would be about success. And between when I recorded 3 and now 4, I've actually thought about this word a lot. Let me set the stage for you a little bit of where my head's at today and where my was at last time. So, did the last show completely unmedicated. That's why it was all flying all over the place. Today, I did take my medicine, so we're feeling pretty good. And I'm focused. So that's, well, reasonably focused. So that's good. And I went and got a massage because I wanted to be like super chill. It turns out, so I went and got deep tissue. And by the way, all these episodes have been like going straight into what my point was. Today we're gonna detour into where I've been the last like 3-4 days. I went and got a massage, did deep tissue because I throw out my back a lot. I get a lot of stress in my neck and shoulders. I sleep on my stomach or on my side, and so I'm at the point of my life where I just hurt myself sleeping. So I just wake up and go, "Oh no, that whole side of my body will not function today. I can't rely on it."
I
So
understand. I'm approaching that point. My
approaching
shoulders
it,
sometimes hurt.
oh,
It's not as frequent as you, so I'm entering into that territory.
so you don't wake up looking like a question mark, like your whole body is like tilted to one side. Like, why won't this shoulder go down? Damn it!
Not quite. Not just yet. Instead, I become a question mark after waking up, going, "Oh, what is that pain?"
Yeah. Oh no, I just spend my whole day like that. So I went and I did the massage, and she's like, "Ooh, oh," like she knew she was hurting me before she even touched me. She's like, "This is gonna be a problem," and she's like separating my shoulder blade from my back, just like trying to rip the two things apart. And like the thing that I found very interesting is like it was the most painful experience ever. Like she's Vulcan nerve pinching me all the way through my ear, down my neck and into my shoulder. and it was absolutely painful, and I thought it was the worst pain ever. Then I got it done again because I just needed a little bit more work. Like I can turn left now, so that's good. But I feel like I'm super tense. And she's like, I can see that you're sore and you're tender. Let's try to work it out. And she goes down my back, and then she starts pressing on my glutes. And I thought I knew pain. That was the worst pain I'd ever felt. And then I started laughing out loud because I realized I am a literal tight ass. I'm a physiological tight ass. It was horrible, but it was so good. Because and then she goes like, "I'm gonna put in your chart that I need to work on your glutes." And I'm like, "You know what you really should put in there? Because you're just gonna discover more fucked up muscles as you kind of gravitate away from my shoulders. Like, you just need to know that we need to attack a body part every time I'm in here. Because I'm sure I'm a mess everywhere else too." And she said, "Well, here's what I want you to do. When you notice yourself clenching, I want you to relax. I want you to like try to open your jaw and do a little stretch." And I'm like, I am clenched 99.9% of the time. I think I would notice if I were unclenched. Not that I'm clenching. I'm clenching right now. And I'm talking. That's called magic. Like I'm a
Yes, this was
ventriloquist.
something that I also had to practice just a few months ago. I had this terrible mouth pain, and I was like, I wonder what this is all about. So I did the obligatory WebMD research, and it's like, well, are you really biting down on your, are you like stress clenching? And I'm like, now that you say that, WebMD, I think that that may very well be the case. So then the treatment, the solution is stop.
Just stop it.
Make sure that, you don't feel pressure between your upper and lower teeth. And so I'm practicing that, going, um, this feels weird and I don't understand what's going on right now. And I don't know how people do this.
How would you even know? Like, they're like, you shouldn't feel pressure. But like to me, it's just my natural state of being. And so last
Right.
time, last time we did this. So last time we did this, this is today is the day after Christmas. And last time we did this, it was before Christmas. I was still prepping and, getting ready for everything, cleaning, cooking, meal planning. And of course, with work, you got to put, 6 weeks worth of work into 3 because you got to get it all done before year end. So I do the show, go right back to working. I wouldn't have even begun to notice. Like that kind of pressure is just all day, every day kind of pressure. So I would really have to be like grinding my teeth down to the nub to notice that it was, oh, I have a problem. Like I wouldn't even fathom it. So just so you know, we're at, before Christmas, and I do watch. First of all, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I don't care. Number two, we were watching The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. So I kind of relate to these last 4 episodes um to that part in that movie where Jim Carrey is sitting there and talking about his schedule, and he goes, 4 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 5 o'clock, like, now we're at jazzercise. Episode 2 was stare into the abyss. We did a lot of staring into the abyss, and now we're at jazzercise. So, we're booked. We're getting there.
I feel like we're making progress.
Yes. So getting to the point, and now we're here day after Christmas. Everything's done. I'm still working. I even worked through Christmas because I have a problem. I have a sickness. I can't stop. But thinking about it and in terms of success or not, I go, okay, well, I jingled all the fucking way. Everything was like full of Christmas cheer and merriment. We did the trolleys and the lights and the cookies and the stuff. Santa came to my son's house and wrote him a note, but Santa was too busy writing the note to eat the cookies. So fucking Santa couldn't even bother to get the damn cookies done and broke my son's heart. That bastard is all I'm gonna say. How dare he? Me and him have beef now, and by me and him have beef now, we all know what happened that night. So I'm like, was it successful? Was that I'm exhausted. If success was a function of exhaustion, I am very successful. Am I supposed to like I feel so tired. But is that what I'm supposed to feel? Or like are there people out there going, "Oh man, that was great. I wish Christmas could be year round." Like is that
That
how I'm supposed to
sounds
be?
like a nightmare. If being tired is the epitome of success, then I also am extremely successful.
Like it's just winning all around. Like the fact that I desperately need a bed should mean that I'm winning.
For me, success in this context is making it to the day after Christmas and going, oh, it's over. It's finally over.
Yes. It is. And I felt the Christmas spirit press the eject button at 7 p.m. yesterday. It was no. Absolutely not. Let's play. No. Let's do stuff. No. Let's watch a Christmas movie. No. My Grinchiness showed up when it was all done.
Then I would argue that your Christmas spirit was still alive and well.
Oh, that's true. That's true. My heart sank 3 sizes. It just so big and lively with all the joy of the kids. And then I made dinner, ate it, and went, no. Like, that's it. All of you need to go. So then I relate back to the last time we recorded. And I probably, that was as wackadoodle of an episode that was. I will say, I felt very successful after that episode for a very important reason. And you might not remember it. I wore a white sweater. I wore a white sweater, and I did that because I was really confident. Like today, I'm not gonna fuck it up. Today, I can keep the white sweater clean, and I did. We didn't go eat anywhere saucy, and I held everything about 18 inches away from me. But I came home, and that white sweater was still white. Mm, mic
Yeah,
drop.
but I don't
I
know if that
win.
counts.
What?
See, you got the whole point is that when we eat the saucy things, you will fail to keep the white sweater clean. The whole see to me, success in this context would be us doing both.
No, absolutely not. That is a level of bravery I will refrain from. There's no way I and so I let me just be clear. I look very good in white. I avoid white like it is the plague because I know I will spill. But I look very good in white. It is like, a practical joke God played on me. Ha ha! You will look fantastic in white. But you're a klutz and you're fucked up and you have butterfingers. So you shall never have a clean sweater ever. No. So I think the fact that I successfully avoided pens, sauce, kid peanut butter fingers, Cheetos. I think I win. That was so much winning. I won so hard that day.
Fine, I'll let you have that one. I still think that we should have had spaghetti.
That's it. On my white shirt days, you are not allowed to come. You
With
stay
extra
home.
red sauce, extra.
You stay home. That's it. You are not allowed in my general vicinity. And forget COVID 6 feet. No, this is like a restraining order. This is a white shirt restraining order. So I had intended, because I was told that, why should people listen to you? I should explain that. Now, I was supposed to explain that in episode 1. Didn't happen. Episode 2 is why you shouldn't listen to me, because that shit was dark. Episode 3 is like squirrels, shiny things. What am I listening to? So we're really going to try to bring it home here in episode 4. So after listening to me ramble on for 4 hours, you should know why you should listen to me. So I had planned today to talk about that, but really is for anybody listening, for our listener. This is the humble brag episode. The rule I gave my brother is I'm going to talk shit about myself. He's going to say nice things about me and tell me things that he's like, "But you're not so bad. You were a great mom. I'm doing fine." This is what he was gonna say. And I'm gonna say, "Oh no, you shouldn't. How can you say that's so kind of you?" And that way you guys will see that I'm amazing, but I'm not a pompous ass. So that's the whole point of this episode. And so I'm gonna throw it over to my brother, who's gonna say all sorts of amazing things about me, and you're gonna be like, "Wow, that's really great." Hit it.
First of all, you've now made it extremely awkward. You revealed what's behind the curtain, and now it's like all of my effusive praise will be seen for what it is, a sham.
True, but they are still real.
That's questionable.
Okay, let's start with one. Let's say one thing that I'm successful at. One, I raised you and you're fantastic. So stop it.
But even that, I
Again,
would argue, is quite questionable.
we will get into questionable or not questionable later. But first, I'm going to say you're amazing, which means I was amazing. So that means I did a pretty great job.
Okay, well, why don't we start here first? What to you is the definition of success? Like, how do you think of success? Because there's a lot of different types of success: parenting success, career success. Like success isn't always just this monolith that covers everything. It can be very specific in different realms of life. So, for you talking to your listeners, what is it that you would want them to see? All of it? Specific types? What is your approach?
It's an interesting question that you bring up of what is success, because in my mind I'm not successful. I don't know what it is. I haven't achieved it. I'm nowhere close to it. I had a clean white shirt. That was that was the best feeling I've had. I think of, like, there's the societal definition of like married, kids, stable income, right? Like home, though this list of things that you think of as you're not living paycheck to paycheck, maybe if you want to make that a check box on that list of success. You have retirement count, that's a check box on that list. You graduated from some kind of educational institution where they said, "Hey, you learned what you were supposed to," and they handed you a piece of paper, whether they knew you learned it or not. Like, that's a definition too. But for me, when I think of it, is like success is there's a contentment component to that for me, and then there's a potential versus expectation versus situational reality versus goal, what I actually set out for myself and how far did I reach that. Like, if I think of what I wanted to do when I was a kid, and I said I knew what I wanted to be when I was 4 years old. I still want to be this. I wanted to be economic advisor to the president. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be that looking like Heather Locklear. Have I achieved either of those things? Absolutely not. So by that standard, I'm not a success. Mom said I should be prime minister of India, and I told her I didn't want to get assassinated. Now, am I prime minister of India? No. So that by definition, I'm not a success if I haven't been assassinated. So there I am winning again. There's
Well, but also you didn't want to be prime minister, and you did achieve not being prime minister. So
so and by that definition, I'm a success, right? Like
exactly,
I
you
see
set out a goal and achieved it.
I did. See, now we're talking. If we think about it in terms of what we want, in terms of what we have, in terms of our capability, in terms of what we have around us, our resources, our everything, then in any moment, if I take just a snapshot of a moment, I can be both a success and failure at the same time in that moment. It depends on who's looking at it, right? It's like Schrodinger's cat. Schrodinger's success. You won't know if you're a success or failure until you open the box. And it depends upon who opens the box, and it depends upon their philosophical bend that determines whether that is a success or failure. I will say there are things I'm proud of. That's different, I think, because I had a goal. I always said that when I've made it, and I'll tell you the definition of make it. But when I've made it, I will buy myself a Chanel purse. I don't like purses. I only have the one. No, I have plenty that I've gotten as gifts, but I only use the one because I'm going to lose things. If I change purses, I won't know where anything is, and that's just aggravating. So, but I keep thinking like that's my make it status symbol that I will say give to myself. And I told my husband when we met because he was gonna buy me one. I said, "Don't you fucking dare," because this is one of those things that when I feel it and I really feel like I've made it, I'm gonna go buy this for myself with my own money. And so the definition of make it is I wanted piss away money. I wanted money. I wanted to reach a level of financial security and stability that if, and I'm going to say $5,000, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people who know what a Chanel purse costs. I have no idea what it costs, but let's say it's 20 times more than that. Who knows? But like an amount of money that if I were to buy the purse, it wouldn't impact my child's ability to go to college, wouldn't impact my ability to donate to my grandkids. Yes, I'm a grandmother. That's another story. Um, my grandkids, um, college educations, be able to go out to dinner, be able to afford my mortgage or make my, car payment or insurance payment, whatever. Like there's an amount of money that you have over top where this is literally a drop in the bucket to me, and I feel like it's a drop in the bucket where I can't find another justifiable alternative use of that money that would give me greater joy or give someone else greater joy than buying that purse. Right? Like it's the decision of, okay, if you go out to dinner and they say, "Oh, you know what you could have done with that $100?" I'm like, "Yeah, I could have donated $100 or I could have saved it or whatever." But the amount of joy I got from having that $100 dinner was worth it in that moment, right? Like there wasn't another reasonable, like I'm not ending, hunger. I'm not ending world hunger by not eating by not spending this $100. So I don't know, even by my own standards, that I will ever feel like I've made it. I don't know that there is a number, like what's the number of for piss away money? Is it like winning the lottery money?
Well, but I think that that's a more a philosophical question, because based on the societal definition that you made this giant list, and I would argue that throughout that list, you've hit on the vast majority of those things, if not all of those things. You have a nice home, you have savings, you have definitely a lot of educational success. Uh, I forget how many master's degrees you have. I think two, one.
One.
Yeah. So you've achieved a lot. You've been CEO, you've been CFO for companies. You certainly have done a lot more. At least in comparison to me, who has done none of those things. I rent, I live paycheck to paycheck, I have no money, right? I graduated with my bachelor's degree at 33, while you were, getting a lot of success by then. And me, before that point, I worked as a janitor for 5 years, and so based on the societal definitions, you have so much more success than me. And then you say, well, you don't feel successful, but then I that begs the question, how should I feel? Then I feel extra unsuccessful at that point. So what is success here?
So I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think about celebrating small wins. It's the difference between beating myself up and knowing the objective truth, right? And I think in my head, I don't feel successful. I feel gratitude. M- Success, I think, when people think of it, is they got somewhere on their own. They did something, they achieved something through their hard work and will. And success is kind of goes hand in hand with achievement. But I think you even if you can define success, you have to go even back further and define achievement. What is achievement? And all of that is situational as well. If I were to talk to a serial entrepreneur and he goes, "Well, you had a ton of potential. You're very smart, but uh have you sold a company for 9 figures yet?" No, I haven't. So if I haven't, and that was the expectation I should have met by some point, then then I'm not successful. I am actually well underperforming what is perceived potential. And so that, but then if I ask somebody else who knows me and knows what I've been through and knows, you know, what it took to get just as far as I've gotten, someone would go, "Well, absolutely, you're very successful. Look at all that you've accomplished, given setback after setback, problem after problem." And the way I even think about it is I had a whole bunch of goals, and I will admit I've achieved most of the goals I've set out to achieve. And but I always thought it would be bachelor's, master's, fall in love, get married, have kid, buy house. Like it would be very linear. It's always this upward trend is always it's always an upward trend. And I think of it more like The Good Place. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but
I have not.
they describe time very linearly, and they call it Jeremy Bearimy, where it's like literally this swooping, like twisting, turning time thing that is this. There's no absolute straight. There's no up. It's not a circle. There's no shape to it. It's not you're here and the next place you go is up. The next place you go is the next place you go. And so I got to where I ultimately really wanted to be, which is, I have a happy kid. I have a stable household. I have a reasonable amount of financial stability, but I got there by looping around every which way. If I think about where I was a year ago, I was unemployed. Like I went from CEO to nothing. I had to start all over. I had to build my reputation all over. Have I ever been fired before? Yeah, lots of times. I suck generally. Like, I'm not, like, it depends upon who I'm working with, whether I'm your person or not. So been fired by a lot of people. I've done piss poor work for a lot of people. Like, I'm doing the best work of my life now, but there were really points where I was nothing. Really points where if I were to compare in a moment, me to you would have been more successful than me. And
Well,
by an
but I would.
objective standard, if we went by a list, I would have said you're doing better than me.
Okay. Well, I'd love to go through that list because that one's hard for me to see. But especially when we take into account the fact that you did all of the things that you have done without even knowing that you had ADHD, uh, y- y- I find that to be extremely admirable. That you achieved a lot while barely being able to hold on to anything in your mind. You're just like, oh, I should be over here now. And then you forget, and then you're over there. And granted, even though now you know that you have ADHD, that hasn't changed.
No,
But
I still do that. You know how many steps I get in the morning looking for my phone? I look for my phone every morning. I must be accumulating at least half of my step quota every morning, running around the house looking for something I had in my hand 2 seconds ago.
that makes sense. I've seen it. Uh, yeah, even your whether it's your phone, your one purse. Who knows where that is? Oh no, your glasses. We'll never find those. They're gone forever.
Well, exactly. I
But
don't see the problem.
you so when we think about the things that you had against you, you have done quite a lot. But let's go back to the premise of this episode, which is why should people listen to you? Okay, let's go through that societal list and ask, and we can go based on between you and me. So you own a home, I do not. Should people listen to you because you own a home?
So
Does that
I
even matter?
It doesn't. And you said a word earlier called admirable. And over the last several days, I don't think I believe in admiration I, as a productive feeling to society. I don't believe in it. I think admiration is very outward looking. And when you think of who you admire, right? Like, let's say you admire me, I admire you. Absolutely, I admire you. What you bring to people's lives, what you do, the amount of kindness that you have, the fortitude that you take into every single day of your life. I don't know that I have those things. I don't know that I can do what you do. I don't know that I can think as clearly as you do. I don't know that I can think as quick as you do. You are actually smarter than me. You're faster than me. You can rationalize and conceptualize things way faster than me. There's so much about you that I think are great qualities. But when I think about the word admiration, it's still looking at someone from the outside and thinking about them after knowing 36 seconds of context. Right? Like, think of anybody
Mhm.
you admire. Now, I've known you your whole life. So I have a whole lifetime of information, but I'm not with you. And even when you were a kid, I wasn't with you 100% of the time. I'm not in your head. I'm not in, you know, your day-to-day life. So to say, "Oh, I admire you. What am I admiring about you?" Or if someone were to say that to me, "I admire you." What about that is good? How does it drive people? I think when people think of who they say never meet your heroes, almost everybody you can think of that you would quote unquote admire is batshit crazy. And arguably, The things we admire, admire a quality about them. But if you say I admire a person, objectively, almost all of those people, historical figures, celebrities, athletes, highly accomplished individuals, are probably really shitty people. Right? Like, they're not necessarily good people. And I would it and that's because I don't know. Maybe they are good people. Maybe they aren't. But I only know just a fraction, a very, very tiny fraction of who they actually are. And I'm assigning all these positive attributes because I'm filling in blanks and assuming that they must be this, and this in order to have done that, and that. And they could be as absolutely off the wall, batshit crazy as I am. They could be awful people. So why would I like? What do you have to be to admire them? I think I like the words, you know, inspirational or aspirational a little bit more than admiration, because I don't know that anyone is admirable. They're all like a mix of good, bad, smart, dumb, success, failure, idiot, savant. Like they're all of that. And I'm only catching them in the hour where they had it all put together and then they went and laid down. Is that a bad thing? I don't see that part. And so when I even look at moms, like these super women who are single moms working a full-time job or more than a full-time job, one kid, multiple kids, um, taking care of grandparents or their parents. I can't do that. And I look at them like they're magical creatures because I have one kid and I'm exhausted and I have help. Like, what does that make me? What kind of mom does that make me, that I find being in a fully committed relationship with one kid uh, exhausting and difficult? Like, what does that make me? But I don't see that mom. I don't see her when she's collapsed at the end of the day. I don't see the times when her house is a disaster. I don't see the times when she forgot to feed the kids and now they're eating Cheerios. Like, I don't, and again, I'm not saying those are failures, but I think you build up a person in your mind and say, wow, look at them. Wow, they have their shit together. Wow, look at all that they can do. And when I think of admiring them or being in awe of a person or putting them on that pedestal, like, we don't say, the next question is, why can't I do that? Or what can I should be more like them to do that. I want to do that. So let me figure out what secret sauce they have. Let me figure out what they're doing that lets them do that. And you can look at models and they will say genetics is why they're skinny. Also cocaine and cigarettes. And, like, am I prepared to do those things? To like I can't change my genetics. So therefore I can't be that skinny. I'm also won't be that tall. Like, there's nothing I can do about those things. So what, and the people that go, what I eat in a day. And you know what aggravates me about the what I eat in the day? It's what you ate today. Like, it's not what you ate yesterday. It's not what you ate, not what you're gonna eat tomorrow. It's what I ate today. And today they had all kinds of time to make, you know, long soaked oats and all sorts of other bullshit that they can do. And they're chopping all this crap. And they go, this is what I eat in a day. And that's why I feel amazing. And then tomorrow they're binge drinking and smoking and, like, they have other problems. Like, tomorrow they're too stressed to eat and that's why they're skinny. Like, I just don't buy this looking at somebody else and going, you know what? Because you have something that I wish I had, money, a relationship, a child, whatever, because you have something that I wish I had or want to have, that you are doing something better than me or you're better than me. And so I need to emulate you. I don't know that I want anyone to emulate me. It was funny because my son Ryan, he was brushing his teeth and um somehow the words, oh, you're just like your mother, came out. which should have been a funny, positive thing. And I went, oh, that's so unfortunate. I actually
It
meant for that to be in my head. It came out audibly, and he came running out of the bathroom like, "What do you mean that's unfortunate? You want me to be just like dad? Like, what do you mean?" And in my head, the reason I thought it was unfortunate is the path I took to life, the hardships I've endured in life. I would never want someone to go through that. In order to have the success I had in the way that I had it, in the way that I have it, in the time frame I had it in, you would have to go in time back in time, have a really shitty home life, go through a lot of really awful things, find some way to stumble upon, miracle after miracle. Like my first job, I got hired off a Craigslist ad. Remember Craigslist?
oh, that is not reliable.
No, I got hired. My first job I got hired was off of a Craigslist ad. I got hired as a sales assistant. And it's not really my first job. I had other little jobs, but this was my first post college career job. Um, and I was just looking for any job because at that point, I had literally no money. My lights were getting turned off. I could not afford to eat. I needed to feed my dogs. I needed to work. And an econ degree does literally dick. Nobody cares about your econ degree. They need, I didn't go business. I didn't go finance. I should have, didn't. I went econ and math. Like, who does that? Like, like a pompous ass is who does that. That's the pompous ass who really thought she was going to be Heather Locklear in the White House. That's with black hair and all 5'2" of me. Like that's what I thought was going to happen. It was just going to happen, and it didn't. And so I needed to work, and I found a job, and then I needed to find a second job and a third job to just make ends meet. I needed to work 3 jobs, and that was right around the financial crisis, and I was losing money going to the third job because the amount of hours I had didn't cover the cost of gas. It was like $4.30 a gallon at that point. I had to drive an hour each way from the one job to the other. And then it was an hour and a half home. And that job only gave me 2 hours of work. And it was 16. So in that day, in that 2 hours, I made $16. I was losing money going to that job. It was horrible. And so in order for you, like somehow that experience led here. I don't know how. I lucked out that my tires didn't explode during that time. I lucked out in the fact that I had someone like when I went to that job, first of all, I didn't talk like I talk now. I was very observant. People thought there was a problem with me because I said no words for 2 months. And they were like, "You're supposed to be a sales assistant. You're supposed to call people and like get them to buy stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think I can do that." Like I would get on the phone and forget my own name. Like I have I could not do the job and I was rightfully fired from that job. And I don't know what set of balls I had on me that day because I had some kind of chutzpah. I walked from the broker who fired me's office to the owners of the brokerage firm's office and I said, "Look, I know I'm not a good sales assistant, but there's a lot of stuff around here that you could use my help on. And I think I can help you. I think that there's a lot of things I am good at, and I think you could use me." And somehow, and if I take person A, B, C, D, E, F, G, who does the same thing, almost every one of those people will be laughed out of that office. I don't know what it was about me. I don't know what it was about that day. I don't know what it was about that owner at that moment. But he goes, "All right," and hands me an audit to do. He's like, "I've had this sitting on my desk for 6 months. They're really, driving me crazy. You finish it, you do it." And I did it. Like, I handled it. And that's how I kept my job. And that led from one moment into the next moment of more and more responsibility. But I actually called in broke one day. I was like, I have $20 to my name. I'm going to do some babysitting or something to get some money so I can afford the gas to come to work. And I did. I didn't show up to work for about a week or so to get some money so I could afford to go to work. And that didn't get me fired. That is entirely luck. Anybody else would have been fired. All other people. So to look at me and say, "Oh, you did something that I should have done. You did something better than I did. You did something that I wish I could do or should do." No. All of this is blind fucking luck. Am I smart? I will grant myself that I think I'm smart. I pay attention. I care about a lot. I read a lot. I want to learn a lot and I believe in being a student forever and ever and ever and ever. I have that going for me. I have a bit of will. Stubbornness is what anybody else would call it. Absolutely annoying stubbornness and a quite a bit of arrogance to boot, right? But for
Just a little.
me, mm, but for me, if I didn't have those things, if those character defects really, um, I wouldn't have pushed forward. I wouldn't have been unemployed, no money, lights turned off, and been like, okay, let me sit here in the fucking dark and figure out how to make some money because failure's not an option for me. And by that, failure meant going home and tucking my tail between my legs and asking my brothers or my parents for help. That wasn't an option. That all those doors were closed for me and I wouldn't do it. I'd rather be homeless. So that stubbornness was like, okay, strategize, figure it out, get some money, go go work at Walgreens, go work at Target, make a couple of bucks, make a payment, pay back so and so that lent you $3 the other day. Like I've never borrowed a dime that I did not pay back, and I mean a literal dime because I don't want to owe anybody. All those things that I did require being messed up in certain ways, require struggle in certain ways, require the universe of atoms to align in just the right way for it to turn out the way it has.
Well, I would agree. I would agree that luck plays a massive role in uh, a lot of the achievements of different people. Not that those individuals don't have talents and knowledge and expertise in whatever they're doing, but as you've mentioned, just the fact that you didn't get fired allowed you the opportunity to then show your worth, to succeed at a task and those types of things. But here becomes the question and the juxtaposition between you and me. See, so for example, with this show, I am frequently much more cautious in what I say, and because I do wonder, why should anybody listen to me, right? Like, yes, your successes may have come off the back of a lot of luck and whatever, but in society, you have something to show for your efforts, and like somebody would listen to you over me about, let's say, financial matters or uh, political matters or whatever, right? Like because you have achieved something. Whereas again, my biggest achievement is getting a certificate of congratulations, you've worked as a janitor for 5 straight years. Yeah, you didn't get fired from it. That's super great. And I took that certificate, was like, all right, I think this is the end for me on this job. I mean, I'm glad to have made it the 5 years. Glad I got this certificate, but it kind of gave me the opposite feeling. I was like, I think I need to move on from this. And fortunately, I had recently graduated and had the opportunity to move on from it. But why why should I feel like my voice has any value? And I'm asking this from the perspective of our one listener, our rotating listener, i- who may say, well, okay, I should listen to Lethal Sheathel because she has achieved X, Y, and Z things. But at the same time, that listener could say to themselves, but I haven't achieved any of those things, and nobody should listen to me. Uh, what would you say to those listeners if that ever becomes plural, that they have a voice as well?
So that's it's such an important thing is again, that's that admiration or that comparison. Don't compare me to you because, and I'll give everybody context for you. I left for college. You were still in high school. Not only you were still in high school, but you were sick. We didn't know. Like that's the fucked up thing. You've been sick since you were like 10 and we didn't even know. We never went to a pediatrician. We never went to get annual checkups. We never did blood work. The most I ever interacted with general healthcare was when the bus came in 7th grade to give you your vaccines. Like that was the most we were allowed to do. We never went to the doctor. And but that's by the way, anybody who has healthcare parents, you get one of two versions. You either get the hypochondriac, so you're at the doctor every fucking month because they've seen the worst and they want to make sure you're healthy all the damn time. Or you have the you need to be bleeding out of your eyeballs and near death in order for you to access the healthcare system. Because all they see is a whole bunch of people walking into the ER with gas. Like nothing aggravated dad more than having to treat all the people that had come into the ER with gas and constipation. Like that was so frustrating for him. Like so we didn't access the healthcare system. We had our parents who were doctors. Like they treated us. They looked at us and went, you're fine. Mati jasa, right? Mati jasa means it'll heal. That's another trigger word. That's like, but Mati jasa, like you have you know, I need stitches, but there's a big gash on my elbow. And mom would go, Mati jasa. like like that's fine. So for you, going from what you went through, and we should have known. You got sick as soon as we came back from India. You were sick in India, and when we came back from India, it took roots and it impacted you. And I think they're also finding out all about our genetic predispositions to other things. Like we won, some kind of fucked up genetic lottery of syndromes. And I have mine, you have yours, and on top of that getting sick. And you used to have seizures. I watched you have seizures. I watched you not be able to get out of bed and blaming yourself every damn day. Why? Everybody else can do it. Everybody else can do it because we believed we were healthy. Like, oh, we're just not mentally strong. That's why I'm seizing. Like, we need to mind over matter this and sheer will. Like, I remember calling the ambulance after you seized up once. You fell into my arms and I was laying you down and you were shaking. And I called 911 and had them, you were stable by the time they got there, but that was your life. I didn't have seizures. Again, luck. I didn't have seizures. I wasn't sick the way you were sick. I didn't have the impediments you had. And then on top of that, I, like a fucking asshole, chose me over you at 15. You were 15, I was 18, and I jetted. I was out of there and I left you. To be fair, I tried to take you with me. They said no. Um, but I gotta go. And I left you there. And then Lalu was in med school. So you were by yourself. And think about it, like how hard that was for you. And then going from having seizures, not being able to get out of bed, trying your hardest to go to college on your own, and how it took a long time. And I go, what you say is, it took me till I was 33. You kept with it all that time. You kept fighting for it all that time. I don't know that I would have. I don't know that I would have. I don't think I would have. I think I would have been, fuck them all, big and small. I'm going to go find a job that doesn't need it. Yeah, I don't care. And you stuck to it. And yes, you are incredibly smart. Just so you know, everybody. Just so you know, you person,
Listener.
listener, my brother graduated with a 4.0. A 4.0. He is fucking smart. And the reason I listen to him, and he even said it this, why should someone listen to me? You did this and I haven't done those things. I listen to him because he's calm. I listen to him because he's rational. I listen to him because he has a wealth of life experience that gives him perspective. And I think that if you were going to listen to anything, it would be perspective. And every single person has a unique one because only you have lived your life. Only you have been in your brain. Only you have been through your trials and tribulations. So why should I listen to you? Doesn't mean obey, doesn't mean copy, doesn't mean emulate. But why should I listen to my brother? Because he has perspective. And his perspective on how he sees the world is valuable to me. Should be valuable to anybody. Anybody's perspective should be valuable. Do I agree with it all the time? No, because his perspective may not apply to the life I have. I may not be able to look at the world the way he looks at the world because it doesn't work for the world I live in. But that doesn't mean it's not valuable. Doesn't mean it didn't add something to me and to my life and how I think about things. Even you're not a parent. And people always say this, if you're not a parent, you don't get it. If you're not a parent, you can't talk about parenting. I absolutely listen to my brother about parenting. I absolutely want him to show me things where he goes, "Hey, remember that thing? You're doing it to your son." And he might even say that's a good thing, so I feel better about it, or it's a bad thing, and hey, watch out before you do something you don't want to do. Or, hey, I see something in your son that reminds me of me. I see something in your son that reminds me of you, or reminds me of some situation. And I have an opportunity to address it differently, or address it exactly, or feel validated in the way I'm addressing it. So, absolutely. I think what people mistake perspective or opinion is that I'm telling you to have the same one. I'm, I'm getting caught up in my righteousness without having any of the background to be righteous. And I don't think really anyone has the right to be righteous about any of their opinions or their perspective. I can listen, I can absorb, I can incorporate what feels beneficial to me, and I can leave out the things that don't and keep moving on with my life. As long as he doesn't go, "Hey, I told you all these things and you didn't do everything I told you. That's why you're fucked up." No, doesn't work that way. Doesn't.
Well, so okay, so you mentioned that I got a 4.0, but for context, uh, when I finally was able to go back to school, and my old university, I was bringing out my transcript so I could send it to this new university. I'm looking at that transcript, and it was extremely embarrassing. That I had attempted somewhere around 245 credit hours, and I had 112 passed and 130 something failed or withdrawn from. And looking at that going, well, and for those who may not know, the usual 4-year degree is 120 credit hours. That I had failed more than a 4-year degree's worth of courses. Uh, my GPA was abysmal. Uh, I don't even remember what exactly it was, like 2 point something. It was terrible.
Yeah, to
And
you, a 2 point something is actually really good for a lot of
well,
people.
sure, and maybe I could say that it's especially great that I had a 2 point anything, given that I had all those failures. But for 11 years, I kept going and going and going and failing, and I only needed one semester to graduate for a year and a half, 2 years, and I just kept trying and trying, and but then I would get sick again. I would go to doctor's appointments. That would get in the way of classes, whatever, anything that could get in the way of me passing got in the way, and I just sat there. And during that period of my life, I felt like the biggest failure and a complete loser. And okay, sure, you can say, well, but you kept going. You kept trying and you kept signing up for the next semester. You kept going. And uh, okay. And then when I finally gave up on that university, because there's the rule of if you fail the course 3 times and you try to take it again, they're going to charge you 3 times the amount. And I could not afford that. I then went and got a job, became a janitor. It was all I could get at that moment, but I worked it. I made money. I survived. And okay, so I understand that all of these things means that I have the uh, I don't know, perseverance or whatever you may want to say that quality is. But that doesn't mean that that's how I felt about that whole situation. For me, it was just, well, what is my choice? I mean, I could lay down, I could just quit. I could say, well, it's over for me. But that wasn't a very great and appealing option. So yes, I kept going. But my question goes back to what is the point? Like people, why should somebody listen to the employee over the manager? You're the one who is in charge. So people go and they think, okay, I should definitely listen to those who have authority, and the employees don't get listened to, uh, usually anyway. And I feel like there are far more employees than managers, and those employees traditionally don't feel like their voice has any value. So, what would you say is the reason that you would listen to your employees?
That and honestly, I do, and always have, and always will. And even you say you denigrate that you were a janitor. Those are incredibly vital employees. Smart, tenacious, wise. Like when I think of what I was, and I hope my employees, I hope the people who have worked with me and under me and reported to me feel this way because it's all I ever wanted for them. I believed in them. And I believe that when I think of employees, they're the people who interact with my customers the most. They're the people that interact with my systems the most. They're the people that understand the processes the most. And to not walk a mile in their shoes and not listen to their challenges, to their wins, to everything, and really understand what it's like to leave their life there because you spend more time at work than you do anywhere else. To leave that, come to my office or come to my place of work, devote themselves to the tasks that are laid out in front of them, and to ignore that experience, that front hand experience is a waste. Like it is just so counterintuitive to me. I remember I used to have an open door policy. Anybody could walk up the stairs, walk right into my office, and people said that's not productive. It absolutely was productive to me. The amount of things I learned from my employees because they felt comfortable to come talk to me made me a better CEO every single day. I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill. I believe in listening to them. Almost not more than my managers or my other leaders, because I think leaders are should be focused more on forward thinking, planning, taking this knowledge and finding a way to get the best out of their team to deliver some future result. But in real time, you got to listen to your employees. You got to listen to someone who's the one picking up the phone. You got to listen to the person who had to clean up the vomit on the aisle. You got to listen to the person who had to stock the shelves. You got to listen to the person that had to seat the person at the table. You have to listen to those people. Those people know a lot. And I will tell you, even that group, these employees, people dismiss, they're like, you're in finance, you shouldn't talk about marketing. You're in this stay in your lane kind of attitude. To an extent on executing, I get it. Too many cooks in a kitchen. But from hearing ideas and perspective and allowing your employees to participate in brainstorming, to participate in I create generating ideas and thinking about what future goals can be, what they would like to see the company achieve, what they would like to be part of as a mission, amazing. I would recommend it every damn day to anybody who's in leadership. You, I am not built cognitively, emotionally, you know, physiologically to do certain jobs. I'm just not built to do them. Why should I look down on someone who can do that job well? If you're a great waiter, why do I look down at people say, "Oh, get a better job"? That's a great job. You may want more money. It's unfortunate it doesn't pay enough, but I can't do that job. And you shouldn't look at me going, well, if I'm not CEO, if I'm not owner of a business, if I'm not this, if I'm not that, then I'm not successful. I should want to be in leadership. No, you don't need to want that to be successful. You don't need to want only what people define as successful to be successful. You can want whatever the hell you want. If all you want is to find a way to feed your kids and have a stable home environment, whether it's renting or owning, to be able to enjoy a moment here and there and actually look back on your life and say it was more fun than not fun. If that's all you want out of life, God bless you. That's success. That's success to me too. Like, that's amazing. You don't need to be CEO to be successful. You don't need to be, you don't need to have promotions. You don't need to do anything like this. It I wasn't built to do certain jobs. You weren't built to do certain jobs. Find a job that you can at least tolerate doing. Find some skill within you and monetize it to the best of your ability so you can go and use that money to live your life. That's the life part. The life is what matters. I think about that with the CEO, the one that the UHC CEO that was murdered. And I'm not going to talk about it from the perspective of whether, we should have empathy or anything for this because that's not the point I'm making. But the thing I find interesting, CEO, very successful man, I think married, had kids, whatever, house, wealthy, whatever. His job, he dies. His job offered 10 grand to find his killer, and they will replace him in a month. They will replace him very, very soon. His office will no longer have any remnants of him at all, and no one will remember him other than for this, which is sad. Now, we can argue good person, bad person, innocent, not innocent, the state of American healthcare, whatever. But for an objectively successful person, he at the end of his life and now looking past it is worth what? Like, is that success? Like, you can achieve all of that and your company will still move on like nothing happened. So you can't define your success by your job, can't define your success by what your company thinks of you because most companies don't think much of anybody, even their CEO. So I would leave that behind. I'm going to say to anybody here, why let's go through the list. Why listen to us? You're bored? Yeah, shit else to do. That's Have us on in the background. We're great background noise. We're working, you're bored, our voices aren't off-putting. Have it on. Number 2, you find something of value in something that we've said, whether it's my brother, whether it's me, whether it's friends that I'll have on future shows. We talk about something interesting and you go, huh? Or we talk about something and you want to talk about that with other people you know. That's valuable. Okay, do that. Or you listen because, you feel seen. We're a disaster. We're human, dumpster fires here. Like, you don't feel bad about yourself. If anything, allow us to make you feel good about you. Like if you're
Definitely.
like, don't don't be like this. If you're not like this, you're winning too. Like, take that away.
Well, so first, let me also clarify. I think the janitors are awesome. I love the time that I did that and the work that I did. It was a lot of fun. So and every time now I see other janitors going around, I have so much respect for them. I laugh, like I was at in an ER and I noticed that person making sure that the ER was still clean. And I'm just watching them going, "Oh, that's awesome," right? Like they usually most people don't even see that person walking around. So then what I would try to say, because earlier in the show you said that I was going to talk about why you're great and explain to people why they should listen to you.
Which you
And
didn't do. I'm really upset about it.
but I did. And here's my trick. And I had this plan from the beginning uh, to show that, because I don't believe that being CEO, not CEO, or having money or not having money, or any of those things is a reason why somebody should listen to you. I don't think that it matters that you're married versus not married, have kids or not kids. None of it. What I think is the biggest reason why people should listen to you is exactly what you've just been saying the last 10 minutes or so. It's how you treat me, and it's how you treat your employees. It's how you see people. It's the fact that you don't look down on anyone. It's the fact that no matter who is listening, you will listen back to them. And that is the most amazing quality a person can have, that you don't boast. You don't think of yourself as better and superior. And you're not trying to tell people what to do, or say that you're right, they're wrong. That's not the point of this show. You're just there to talk. And if people want to respond, if they want to talk and say, well, hey, I have these concerns, I have the utmost confidence that you would listen to them. And people who are willing to listen are people who should be listened to. The compassion, the kindness, the respect that you give to every person is the most beautiful quality that I could ever hope for. And that, dear listener, is why you should listen
He's
and
gonna
keep
cry.
listening.
Do not cry. I'm crying. This is, oh my god. I okay. So okay. Now I say what I'm supposed to say was, oh, you shouldn't have. I'm gonna cry. I think you can feel the emotion. I love my brother more than anything. He's awesome. He's fantastic. I did that. Let's just say that. I take full responsibility for that. Um, but Bruce said something and he says, "Okay, because I was ready to quit and like, this is stupid. Like, what am I doing? This is an exercise in public humiliation. And by public, that's a strong word because there's one listener.
Hey,
But
it's a great listener.
that's true. Love that guy. whoever that listener is who made it to 4 episodes and listened to this is a long one. Made it like, I'm sorry, whatever you're going through. I'm sorry you were that bored that you had to listen to all of this or you felt it valuable, but I also respect it. I am here for it. Kudos on you. But I think about something that was told to me, and I think we're gonna end the show here. And I will say, I was told, don't give up, because what are you here to do? You're here to talk. You're here to thrive. You're here to just be yourself. And it doesn't matter whether anyone listens. And if anyone does listen, as long as you touch one person, that's all that matters, even if that person is yourself. And so if I'm going to define success, if all it takes is me touching myself, I've been a success for a really long time. And it's not that kind of show. That's all I'm going to
I was like, I don't know if we should say that.
If you made it through 4 episodes, you should know by now. Not that kind of show. But been a success for a really long time. So next time, we're going to talk about some more topical stuff like this. There's some stuff in the news that we'll get into, and I'm looking forward to recording another one of these. So if you are touched by this, I'm happy to be touching you. And if you're touching yourself, you are a success.
And I'm really uncomfortable with the direction this show has gone.
Winning! Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you love this episode, or if you at least didn't hate it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. And hey, share it with your friends, share it with your family. Until next time, stay bold, stay real, peace out, deuces, and keep speaking your mind. See you soon.